2018, the UN pledged the role of our former President Uhuru Kenyatta and then made him the global champion for. And then we asked ourselves, how can you be a president? Group was, what is the place for young people in artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, robotics, and this coding you're talking about? My children do coding, but I don't know yet. But I always pretend to know because I introduced them to the system. Nonetheless, I hear the Ashoka Fellows are here. In my other life, when I was the national coordinator for research in the ministry, I was dealing with Ashoka Kenya to have change drivers in the education sector. But later on in my youth leadership programs, we invited the Ashoka team to train the young people not only for peace, but to be change drivers in their spaces, in the wards, in the hard-to-reach counties. So I'm glad to say that what junior achievement Kenya is doing, my friend John, I will take credit for everything you are doing, and to say that entrepreneurship pillar is very critical. If you are to give young people jobs and to enable them deploy science, technology, and innovation, entrepreneurship has multiple phases. I have relatives who do business and who have not gone to school. I help them in auditing their account, especially ladies. They have never been to Harvard, but their account is fatter than mine, courtesy of entrepreneurship and their creativity. Secondly, in the area of financial literacy and financial competency, particularly for women, this is also closely tied to that ecosystem of entrepreneurship and work readiness. Many young people these days in Kenya, when you ask them, they want to join procurement departments, they want to make quick money. There's a huge, well-established ecosystem for easy money. We need to reverse and disrupt that mindset. We need to have a growth mindset that goes beyond having easy money, which is okay. And they tell you, I have done certificate in biochemistry, but also I have a diploma in procurement. So you know where that is leading. So to disrupt this is not easy. I must also say this year, we need to acknowledge on all these human and physical investments that we are making, what is the impact for it? How can we measure impact for this? How are we transforming lives? From 2019, I think then after COVID, we no longer hold meetings in hotels. We say we go to where it matters. Despite even multiple security threats in places like Kwale, we like holding these conversations. But our people are hurting in the rural areas. We have a program for mental health, trauma healing and reconciliation for communities that are deep in conflict. And these are the brains. You guys who are doing coding, who are in these spaces for science, technology, and innovation, we must battle the challenge of mental health. Even when you see our politicians shouting, they are struggling, my friend. Sometimes I'm very good at code reading. So when we look at the person, you can tell they are demons we are fighting. Just to be kind is also important sometimes. Not only the politicians, but also the young people who have finished university, who could not finish university. They have aspirations. I said they want dignified livelihoods. They want families. How do we make them cope with the reality? How do we exit the challenging realities beyond these new things in science, technology, and innovation that you are doing? Mental health is real, my friends. Kwanza wanaume, sisi tumenyamaza bana, tumeumia sana. Si ndio? Even ladies, the multiple violence that we are dealing with. One of my core pillars for this year is to look at the issue of child trafficking and child abuse. We are submitting a legacy program for the president to say our children, our future. Child trafficking, child abuse, child trauma, rooted in the family. rape of young girls. They say you can't fix a broken man, right? So we need to fix our children when they are still young. But we can only fix when we have sound parenting. We can only have sound parenting when the operating environment is okay. In a world of turbulence, of violence, of want, we must address what matters and focus on what matters. It's not easy. The future belongs to these young people who are in these spaces for science, technology, and innovation and coding. Can we code for poverty alleviation? Right? The mathematicians, they say they give different mathematical models. Can they give us a model for fighting corruption? For fighting this trauma? Finally, we also acknowledge, yesterday we had the first paperless cabinet. This government is truly digital. And for once, without fear or any favor, I think our current president is very passionate about the things that he says. Paperless government, we had e-government programs from which year? Mwaka nyingi sana John, sio? But the majority of us, those who are mimi na Mulenge, bado tuko analog, watoto ndio wanakuwa digital. But we need also to open up these spaces for us to learn and co-create a better country. With those few remarks, I was supposed to attend a meeting with my boss, but because I promised to keep my word, mtanisamehe, kwa maana after this nitaondoka, lakini tutawasiliana. John has my contact. And please, the spaces that I deal with, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel, because we are present in 16 counties. And we are lucky to have established 16 innovation hubs. But I'll tell you one story. Something here. He said, Mr. Oakley, we have heard the things you are doing in Taita Taveta, Mombasa, Lamu, Nairobi. Sisi ndio vijana wa innovation hub. He said, who are these guys in the room? He said, these are the campaign activists for the political class. Why do you think so? He said, I have this list. The thrust of my story, we told them, okay, after lunch you come. Then we scheduled for them an evening meeting. He came with 26, 11 ladies and 15 guys. Young people, below 35. They already knew what we wanted. Between 3 and 7 in the evening, they were able to come up with a name. They called themselves the Corn Belt Innovation Hub. They came up with the objectives, and also they came up with the logo. They already worked out and they were ready. The moral of the story is, many of young people are left out of these spaces because they don't have somebody of influence to take them to spaces like this. And the first thing I promised was, I took them to the county commissioner, and then we gave them the Youth Empowerment Center, which was not functional. It was a physical building, but was not being used. Then UNDP were gracious enough to equip their lab with computers, and later on we had to look for Wi-Fi. Those guys are rocking it now. They are very active during the campaigns. They are doing messaging for the politicians, and of course messaging that mattered to the young people. With those few remarks, nimeongea kama mwanasiasa. Mungu awabariki.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oakley. It's quite invigorating, and it's also good to see that government is really embracing technology and most importantly, that you are willing as government to partner with the private sector and other players to be able to do this. I know that you really must leave, but I would just ask for your indulgence if we could allow you to leave by latest 10:30 for about 20 minutes, 10:20, so that you also have the opportunity to hear the perspectives from the African Development Bank. And then after that, before you leave, by 10:20, we also cut the ribbon and then come back for the panel discussion. I promise we shall keep this short and sweet. Thank you. So allow me to invite Mrs. Hedrina Doromba, who is the Division Manager, Education and Skills Development, African Development Bank. We shall have another session where I'll tell you where I know her. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that you have accepted to take on another 10 minutes with us, which is really very important for you and for us. So thank you so much, Mr. Mkuta. I hope I pronounce it right. Thank you. Maybe before I even get into reading the speech, on behalf of my Director General, Madam Nene, I just want to say that I'm very excited to be here. Indeed, this is my second time in Kenya, but 2 weeks odd, and I'm very excited. I think more than excited is that we've been the team that has been working with the Junior Achievement in making sure that we make this reality come true. So we want to appreciate you. It's been a journey. I know at one point we thought, oh, maybe this will not happen. But thank you for your persistence and just following up to make sure that this happens. Allow me to read the speech. Like I said, my Director General was supposed to be here, but unfortunately she's not able, and she has asked me to represent her, which is indeed a great honor to me, as well as to the Africa Development Bank. To just quickly go through her speech, distinguished Vice Chancellor of the United States University, Africa, distinguished partners, distinguished faculty, students and friends, and of course, the partners of Coding for Employment. I want to say good morning to you all. It's indeed a great honor to be here today to launch the ICT Center of Excellency for the United States International University, Africa. I want to thank all of you for being here to witness this fruit of this investment, the Center of Excellency in ICT. The bank is very proud to be associated to this, and we are also excited to know that this is an idea that is actually spreading like fire because of the interest that we have received from various countries. So this Center of Excellency is the result of the partnership between the Africa Development Bank, the Rockefeller Foundation, United States University, and of course, our implementer, the Junior Achievement Kenya. This partnership indeed represents an exciting partnership that has actually produced results which we are going to witness today. For us, we see this as a very dynamic, collaborative, and exciting partnership. And we want to appreciate all of you for being part of this journey, because the results we are going to see today are as a result of your commitment and also your level of enthusiasm. In today's rapid changing world, it's clear that the future will be shaped by technology. I'm sure you agree with me. The Vice Chancellor did speak to that. And indeed, in the last few years, we've been navigating the world, trying to look at this prolonged physical and social distancing because of COVID, and as well as looking at, what can we do differently as a result of this need. The call to action to increase access to ICT and digital tools to equip the African was really a necessity, and we are happy we've been part of this journey. It is indeed clear that regions which had limited or no access to ICT during the COVID lost out quite a bit in as far as learning is concerned, and as a result, they also lost out to economic opportunities during the pandemic. And therefore, we believe that the Center of Excellence we are launching today will constitute key steps in strengthening access to digital tools, skills, as well as in helping our young people to be able to thrive and attend to issues for the future global shocks. The skills and knowledge required to succeed in this digital age will certainly be different from now, today, and in the future. But it is the responsibility of all of us present here to make sure that we support the young people, prepare them to be able to meet the challenges ahead. And it is for this reason that the Africa Development Bank created the Coding for Employment program, which is to provide demand-driven digital skills training and linking the graduates to job opportunities for decent employment. And if not, ensuring that they create jobs for others. The program is operational in Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, and Cote d'Ivoire. And like I said, currently we have quite a number of countries that are requesting or would like to be part of this journey. So far, we've had about 152,000 youth that have been trained in ICT, soft skills, using a combination of both e-learning as well as in-person training in skills such as web design, app application, data science, and digital marketing. We are especially very proud to say that at the moment we have an average of 47% of women participating in our program. We do put a lot of emphasis on that because we know that women and girls continue to face more obstacles in accessing digital skills than our colleagues, the men. At the Africa Development Bank, we do believe that investing in education, training of young people is one of the most effective ways to promote economic growth and development in a country. Through our bank Skills for Employability and Productivity in Africa action plan, we are, as a bank, committed to investing in building employable skills by expanding science, technology, engineering, and mathematics skills in higher education and TVET, digital technology, as well as online learning skills infrastructure. We are an infrastructure bank, and so we put a lot of emphasis on that, and we've been championing this even in the space of ICT. Beyond the Coding for Employment initiative, other examples where the bank has invested is the Pan-African University, where we have actually supported 25 million USD to be able to make sure that the Pan-African Institute are not only established, but are also IT savvy. We've worked this in collaboration with the African Union to support science, technology, innovation training, and we've also invested quite a bit in the Regional Center of Excellency in Rwanda to equip the next generation of computers and expert in ICT as well as computer science at the Carnegie Mellon University. Therefore, this center is just an example of our commitment to supporting the next generation of leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators by providing the people with the tools and resources they need to succeed. We are helping them to create a more prosperous and inclusive future for all. We are very proud to be part of this partnership, and we are confident that the ICT Center of Excellency will play a key role in helping young people reach their full potential and achieve their deep dreams. Of course, bringing capacity building initiative closer to local community, closer to industries remains the top priority for our institution. Based on the lessons learned from the COVID and the and the lack of access to ICT infrastructure and training, especially for underserved in the rural areas, has prompted the bank to actually design this Coding for Employment program, which is the project that we are launching today. But in addition to that, we've also brought in another component, which we are calling Digital Ambassador Initiative. This initiative aims to train dedicated young Africans to lead the peer-to-peer training to expand and scale up the digital skills to more youth. This is especially so because we are targeting rural communities where we note there's limited internet connectivity. And in our launch of the digital initiative, we had more than 21,000 youth who had applied in the 4 pilot countries. And unfortunately, because of space, we're only able to get 1,000 of those, which tells you this is an initiative which has high demand, but we need to work together to make sure that the 20,000, for instance, that applied are able to, or we are able to give them the opportunity. The initiative is being implemented in partnership with Microsoft and project implementation units in the countries where this is being operational. The Center of Excellence we are launching today will be crucial in supporting the digital ambassador training, as well as to be the reference for further digital and entrepreneurship training. We've heard from the Vice Chancellor the vision of the university, and we do believe this will be catalytic in making sure that they achieve the vision of the strategic plan. The center will be the hub for innovation, a place where the youth will collaborate, experiment, and develop ideas, and it will be a platform for launching new business as well as new initiative. I cannot conclude my remarks without acknowledging and extending the gratitude, of course, to the United States International University Africa, the Vice Chancellor, Prof. Maggie, for their forward-thinking approach in partnering with the bank on the Coding for Employment program. I also want to appreciate and mention and thank with brilliant teams and university focal points for this program who have worked tirelessly with our team to bring this life to the vision of the Center of Excellency as a youth-friendly, state-of-the-art space. I also want to thank and acknowledge Junior Achievement Kenya for their leadership, hard work, and dedication in implementing this project. Last but not the least, this has been in partnership with the Rockefeller Foundation, who has supported and invested in Africa's future. Together, indeed, we can create a brighter future for Africa's young people, and we ensure that we are all well prepared to meet the challenge for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the insightful speech from Mrs. Hedrina Doroba of the African Development Bank. So you see, I promised we keep it short, add. Hey, you've forgotten. Short, add, sweet. So what we'll do now, we'll just go to 4th floor so that we cut the ribbon and then excuse our guest to leave, and then we'll again converge here for a panel discussion. In the spirit of keeping it short and sweet, John will give his remarks because he's part of the panel, so we have combined that. So trust me, it's short, add, sweet. So do we agree that after we cut the ribbon, we will be back? I'll just make a quick announcement. 4th floor. Thank you. So some of us can use the stairs, others we can use the lift. It's just the next floor down. John and his team have been the in between the Africa Development Bank and ourselves. And so we've worked on this. I think there are times we used to meet twice a month, sometimes more than that, to simply discuss and see how the project will come on. COVID disrupted everything. We had to go back to the drawing board. But I'm very happy and very excited that today we are witnessing this launch with John here. So, John, please take up the mic so that you give your very brief remarks as you welcome the panelists. Or if you want to do your remarks at the panel, it's up to you to run it to your choice. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Prof. Good morning. Good morning again. It's interesting how I always get to do the tough bits. No one is excited as they were earlier on. There's no surprise. We're just getting into a conversation and then we are done. But I think there's some food, so you can hang on in there. There's something for us waiting. So I don't think there's much to say about the work that we do as Junior Achievement. I'm seeing familiar faces here. And I think essentially what we've witnessed is a convergence of values and belief. You know, we in Junior Achievement for over 100 years, we've believed in the boundless potential of young people. We've been doing this for a very, very long time. And the best way our theory of change is around self-efficacy. Believing that by seeing, then you can become. And by giving you a safe space to practice failure, then your chances of succeeding are better. And through this amazing partnership with AFDB, we've created a room for young people to fail. You know, just the fact that we are at a university, students are not allowed to fail, right? So, but in that room down there, you can fail as much as you want. It's okay, because that's why we are here, to create that environment, that safe space to tell you it's okay to think different, to be disruptive, and importantly, to connect you to opportunities. So with those few remarks, I'd like to invite my panelists up here. I'll allow them to make introductions. Then right after that, I'm a very democratic politician. I will allow the audience to ask questions as well. So as they speak, just if you have anything going on, at any point, just let us know, and we'll give you the platform to raise your remark. So first up, I'm looking for, yes, there he is. I'm looking for Professor Moyo. We've worked with him over at least, many years, trying to make sure that the space comes up. So Prof, karibu. Aya, hakuna makofi? I'll also invite Hendrina as well from AFDB. So the intention of this program, when it was conceived, was that we'll build the centers of excellence, then have students come in to be trained. However, due to COVID, we started training young people virtually, and we had overwhelming success. And so this morning, we also have one of our alumni, Hillary keeping a teach. Please, come over. And we were supposed to have Ogle here as well. Oh, everyone is moving to that side. Please, you can come to this side as well. We were supposed to have Ogle on the panel, and one of my very good friends showed up. He's been in this tech space for longer than I have been. He's the founder of Immobilis. So I've just asked him to join us and also give us his remarks. So Bona Ken, and you have to sit here, not there. Do you have a roving mic? So probably to start us off, I'll invite Prof. One to introduce himself and also to speak to why we are doing the Center of Excellence, and if at all, the lessons that will be delivered will be of value to young people. Prof.
Good morning. I think I can stand, and I'm happy to be here. When it comes to dealing with youths, I'm always excited and I'm happy. I'm Patrick Kanywamoyo. I'm the chair of computing department. When I see the lab down here, it reminds me of a project that changed my life. In 2016, I was given an internal grant by USIU Africa to conduct research. And in this research, I was targeting to work in Mathare slums, where I did set up a lab. Just not bigger like this, but I set up a community hub. In this hub, we are able to train youth. We're also able to assign them mentors, and we're also able to work with the community. From that research, I was able to publish 4 and therefore, I really treasure the 300,000 and around 400,000 I got from USIU as an internal grant. And we use that to look for more funding, to continue working with the community in Mathare. I still pass there. We still have the devices we left in a community at Casa Upendo. If you go to Mathare, we had a community in Kosovo, and we were able to do it. And I can only imagine. I still have some nice photos. We brought the youths here for a meeting. We brought them to our labs. And now if I have to go back there, now I know I have a fully resourced lab where they can come. And I'm going to communicate with them and bring them back now here, up the game, wherever they are working, so that they can also go back to Mathare and so tell the other people there, you can also get skills and you can also improve your life. And that is what youth empowerment is. And that is what you can do with IT. Because IT, you can quickly develop the skills. And in IT, there is enough market for you to do the work in the industry. So long as you have the skills, you can be able to get a job. And I'm happy as a youth mentor, even within campus, that the resources that we have, if we use them well, we can be able to transform thousands of youth in this country. Welcome, all of you.
Thank you, Prof. Probably just to add on to what Prof has said, the beauty about the Center of Excellence, we're almost doing 1-for-1 in this first cycle. So for every one student from USIU, a young person who necessarily did not qualify to be in university or to be on campus can walk in and build up their skill capability. And just I think the environment alone will change mindsets for young people.
So which question do you want me to answer?
You need to reintroduce yourself. And I think because you spoke about CFE, I think the last piece you talked about Digital Ambassadors Initiative, where you made a call and you got over 20,000, but you had to pick only 1,000 out of the 20,000. Probably reintroduce yourself for those who were here earlier, and probably speak to that briefly, just to lay context of why we're here.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, I'm excited to be here. My name is Hendrina Doroba. I'm the manager responsible for education and skills development at the Africa Development Bank. Like I said, I was initially at the headquarters in Abidjan, but I've since moved to Kenya, so I'm very excited. And seeing all these partners around, it excites me even more, because I believe we can do this together. Now, two important things I want to speak to. Maybe to start with your last point. One of the reasons why the Africa Development Bank decided to actually venture into coding for employment. Of course, first we wanted to understand what else can we do to support the young people. How do we leverage on the technology to be able to support the young people? And we came up with this idea together with our partners to say, why don't we try this? We are just excited the level at which this has been accepted. but also the success in the pilots that we have done. This is just one of the 5 countries and one of the centers in the 5 countries that we are supporting, and we are very excited about it. Now, when the COVID came, the demand for ICT skills grew even bigger. And we drew back a bit and said, so how do we take advantage? How do we see this as an entry point or as a stepping stone, COVID as a stepping stone, to be a little bit more creative with the young people and see how we can support them? And this is when the idea of the Ambassador Digital Scholarship came in, initiative came in, and the idea really was, we are not only targeting those who have access to ICT, those who are in urban areas. Can we think of those in the rural areas, and how do we reach to them? And in consultation with the youth, a lot of them said, well, some of us, we have the skills we are able to share, and I'm sure we can, influence what's going on in our community. And that's how the program was launched. Just getting feedback from different stakeholders and players in this, and we are excited that this has started on at a high note. We are actually amused at the level at which, the responses we got, and we are calling on partners to say, let's do this together. We have the youth out there who really need our support, and I think we can create the change that we want to see. So we are very excited. I told you that in a number of countries now, everybody wants to be part of the program. A number of them, we are supporting them to do the feasibility study to understand what exactly do they want, and what does this mean, and how can we work together? How can we leverage on the partnership that we have, and also invite others to work so that we are able to contribute. So this is very exciting for us. Lastly, we also wanted to demystify the university, because it's only academicians who come to the university, right? But one of the things, and I hope that is what is going to happen, or that is happening, because I've heard you saying you want to invite other people to come in, was let's create a space where even if I'm not an academician, I can come in because I have an idea, because I'm techno-savvy. I want to come in and just, test my ideas and work with those that know best. So really bringing in the community around the university to be part of this journey would be critical, and I'm happy that it sounds like this is already happening. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing more and stories about that in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Hendrina. Demystifying universities. I saw the professor wondering, have we not done that yet? But before Hillary, I'd like to invite Ken, because he has extensive experience on this tech space, just to speak about what they've done and probably what they've seen over the years.
Yeah, thank you, John, and good morning, everybody. I was a bit hijacked. I think MCs and moderators have way too much power. We may need to change that in the new constitution. But thank you for the opportunity, John. John and I go way back, and we met each other through Acumen. So we believe in the power and the potential of giving young people opportunities around leadership, around innovation, around creativity, and to be able to live their best lives and live their full potential. I do want to applaud all the partners, the Africa Development Bank, Junior Achievement, and the incredible work that they do, USIU, Microsoft, for being a part of this brilliant initiative. I saw the lab, and I see some familiar faces, Ivy from the MasterCard Foundation, and it's very, very exciting what you guys have created here. So just to introduce myself, my name is Ken Mwenda. I'm the co-founder and managing director of an organization called Immobilis. We're a software development, digital hub and innovation hub based in Westlands. We've been around for about 12 years, and our inception story was really about 40% unemployment in Kenya, being completely unacceptable to us, and the idea that young people are tech savvy, are interested in learning, and Kenya has a very enterprising young population of people who deserve the opportunity, but they lack the skills. And so when we see what's being done here now, and the idea that the best companies in the world are being brought together to give opportunity to young people, it's really, truly fantastic. We train on everything from Python to website development, to data science, to cybersecurity. And I've had the privilege of working with lots of different partners, including Microsoft, including Google over the years on their Digital Skills for Africa program. But more recently, one of the things that has really opened our eyes to the scale and the quantum of the problem that was mentioned by Prof earlier on unemployment and the need for skills and the right skills and market-driven skills for both entrepreneurship and for employment, was working with the government of Kenya on their Jira Digital program, which is funded by the MasterCard Foundation. We work together with KEPSA on the employment side and the demand creation side to help young people at scale access dignified income through online work platforms, through digital and digitally enabled work. So whether that's through managing about 101 centers across the country that become access points for young people to access training, mentorship, internet, and connectivity. And one of the things that we say to young people, students all the time, is there's never been a more exciting time to be a young person. John said I had a lot of experience. Please don't translate that to old. Just let's go with experience. Is this idea that Microsoft has set up an Africa Development Center with over 438 software engineers and UI UX experts and product managers. Google is setting up a similar center. Visa has set up the Innovation Center. There was a stat last year that Kenya was the second largest recipient of startup funding in Africa, only second to Nigeria in 2022. So it was a tricky year, it was a tough year, but what that means is the world is looking to Kenya and is seeing potential in Kenya for startups, which means employment, which means jobs for young people and innovators. And I love what was mentioned by Prof as well about the idea of ICT for development. So being able to combine all of that and guide young people is amazing. So kudos. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ken. Now we'll give it to Hilary. He was amongst our first cohorts. One, introduce himself, speak about his experience, and the impact. I remember someone spoke to impact. Where is the impact of the work? So what did the learning really do for you?
Okay. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Hilary Kipngeti Cheriot. I was among the first students of the first cohort to successfully finish that program. Now, I know everybody here admits that it's very challenging for me to speak after the quality of panel we have here. So you'll just let me just go back to how I got to about this program. Around 2019 or 2020, I was surfing the internet. I just graduated with my undergraduate computer science, and I'd been chased from home. That what are you doing in the village? And Nairobi should be where you are getting their openings in Nairobi. So I come from Kericho, those greener sides of the country. So I was in Nairobi Green. So I just applied. At first I was skeptical that how can this thing be this colorfully packaged and it's free. So I applied. After some time I got a contact. And that's how I started. Now after 3 months we graduated. And after that I got a certificate. That certificate actually was an edge for me to get my first job in ERP systems company along Mombasa Road. So amongst the people we were scrambling for that position, at least I had an extra paper. And that was the coding for employment certificate. So I got that job for like up to last year, where I got an internship program with the government. That is the fourth cohort. I was attached to KRA. I was attached to NMS under revenue, and then which was actually stationed at KRA. Along the way, there was an advert for Parliamentary Service Commission. I applied. I was shortlisted. I went. Parliamentary recruitment is very thorough. We go for like 3 or 4 interviews. So the last interview, that is the last physical interview, he was actually being interviewed by now the clerk of the Senate in Uganda himself. He told me that now, what do you show? What do you have different from other graduates around here? And I told him that I have done this coding for employment. I showed the proof. There was also another program by USIU-A, which contains a panel of 5 courses. I can't remember properly. It was posted by Google. So I had all those papers there. So I think that one, to me, I believe that was the age at which I was employed. Because currently I'm working as a research officer and policy analyst at the Parliament of Kenya. So, to me, I really believe that what JA did, JA and all those programs, it gave me an edge against all other people who are competing. So when I got an invite for this, I really had to, currently Parliament calendar is very busy. We are all in Mombasa. I had to request for a single day. So I was supposed to be in Mombasa today. I had to push my flight tomorrow because I am supposed to present also there. So I had to come here because I'm really indebted. So I'm one of those living testimonies. You can always use me as a testimony anywhere. You can always invite me to anybody who doubts the effect and the impact of that program. So I want to say to the Development Bank and any other sponsors for this program, it really has an impact. It really exposes us to those the youth. Let me try as much as possible to represent them. It really opens up their horizon. It really impacts us. Apart from that, everybody currently having a degree in Kenya is so common. So we have that degree, that difference. But when we go, there's that margin of difference. So when there are such short programs, it really impacts their lives of people. Now that we have a very big demand on IT survey guys, now that there is a lot of data, the future now is on data processing and making good use of those data to have an impact in the society. For instance, I'm in the Committee of Agriculture in the Senate. I'm an analyst there. And we are trying to align what comes out of the Parliament with the manifesto of the current government. We must always align so that it is digitally biased. It's going the digital way. Meaning there's a lot of data that needs to be processed to make sense to the economy. Like now, rolling out of farmers so they can receive the e-vouchers for fertilizers. In fact, we can know even how much food we need for our security, food security. So everything is tending to digital and technology. So for African Development Bank, we are really grateful. Your action or your support has a direct impact on the economy of the country and on the lives of the youth. So I can't say enough. What I can say is just thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Hillary. Not only did he come from Kericho, he came to Nairobi, refused to leave, went to Mombasa, and came back. No, you make us proud. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. Any question out there?
Thank you very much, the panelists, and especially Hillary. You have no idea what your testimony is doing to all of us who are here. That we need to go beyond our academic degrees to be able to have that value addition, and we'll get jobs in a country where there's a lot of competition. My quick question is to Hedrina. I wanted to ask, in the African Development Bank, we can see the impact that you're creating among the youth. Is there a place for people with disabilities, youth with disabilities, so that even as we run with the others, we are not leaving any youth behind, especially those with disabilities. Then to Professor Wamuyu, my query is, after the success of Madare, the Madare research, have you replicated that study so that perhaps in Kibera or in other areas, they also benefit from what the Madare youth benefited? Those are my very quick comments. And thank you very much, the panelists and the moderator.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the question. Yes, as Africa Development Bank, one of our key principles of our engagement is really inclusiveness. So we have to make sure that everybody is given the right to access to the service that we provide. Just to say a little bit that as Africa Development Bank, our main partner that we invest in is the government, so in the respective countries. But even when we do special initiatives such as this one, we also insist on making sure that there is inclusiveness and also equality in as far as the services is concerned. So yes, we are very passionate about that, and we appreciate our partners engaging and making sure everybody is given the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Martin, for that question. When you look at the Madare project, me as the chair of department, in 2020 we worked with and trained youths in Kakuma refugee camp in coding. And we spent our time there. We sent our faculty from here to the refugee camp to train the youths. And we were able to pass on the skills. So as a department, as a university, our desire to impact coding skill to the youth and generally use of ICT among the disadvantaged community is a priority to us. And we are still trying to see which other way we can be able to work with the youth. And I'm happy that with the lab and with JA and the School of Graduate Studies, we can be able to replicate the project in other places. And now that we're able to bring outsiders to the university through the lab, we can be able to achieve even more with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Probably a quick question to Ken. It seems like we are tending towards the conclusion that ICT training seems to be a panacea to our problems. And given that we're in a university where we have different faculties, so what are we saying if I'm a student doing psychology or I'm doing law? What is the space? And I can see them nodding. What really is the space that I have to be at? Are we saying we need to embed it? You know, I don't know. What does it look like? Ken?
Wow, the $1 million question. Yeah, I think that's a great question for many different reasons. I guess in our experience, we've seen that it should be a level or unit course the same way that you might teach ethics. There's a famous quote from, for example, Obama about how coding, for example, should be taught at the elementary primary school level for all children, because it's not just about creating software, it's about learning logic, it's about learning computational thinking. And so it's certain skills that are troubleshooting skills, that are problem solving skills that you give to students, whether they're learning psychology or they're doing agriculture or they're doing geography. It's a mindset and a way of thinking. So yeah, if it were up to me, it's above my pay grade, but yes, I would integrate a way where all first level university students have access to university students have access to devices and have access to a class that puts them through at least coding 101, right? But we've also found now, because of how broad technology is, you know, a young person might go into cybersecurity or data science. And even to the example that you gave, right, that Hillary gave, is that you might actually be using Power BI or Tableau or data science to analyze data to solve issues in food insecurity or to help decision makers in a commercial business. So its applicability and its need as a scale level for all levels of student, not just as a class for IT and those who pick this specific pathway, I think cannot be gainsaid. So, yeah, I think there could be a way to infuse it so that all students have access to that, even if they're not studying computer science or software engineering.
But you have a question? Probably, Hilary, before you go to that question, there's also, beyond having it embedded, it's also the how you teach it. In JU, we believe in experiential learning by doing. And I believe that's one of the greatest takeaway or lessons we got through this program, that people are learning through hands-on experimenting. While in most institutions, they might offer it as a 100, but there's no infrastructure. How would you speak about your experience probably as you went through the program and continuously had different segments of experiences?
Okay. My experience was challenging. At first, during that time I was doing that program, I had just moved into Nairobi, very green. In fact, I could not find myself late in the streets because I was still green. So, luckily enough, where I was living, I was just adjacent to a hotel which had a Wi-Fi. So what I could do, just talk to the man, okay, those waiters, probably give me the password to that Wi-Fi so that I could access the. So my take on that is that my urge to our sponsors is that if there is a way you can now, because after COVID, things went remote. You don't have to really 100% come physically. So in the enrollment or in the when you're taking the course, if you can sacrifice a little bit more so that you can give them the gadgets and maybe give them some bundle allowance. We call them bundle, where I come from, we call bundle allowance, so that they can really be consistent and really get what they were enrolling for. Because in technology, when there is a gap, maybe you are teaching about when you are coding Python, and then you skip a class. You'll have to start from the start so that you catch up. You cannot, unlike the arts, the science needs consistency. So when you have a gap, you lose out the rest. So my urge is that, especially in those remote areas and those disadvantaged areas where they cannot even access, they cannot even live next to a hotel which has a Wi-Fi, please, we can help them, assist them.
Thank you, Hilary. Over to you.
Thank you so much, John. My name is Peter Anguka. I'm a student leader from the University of Nairobi, and we have had a similar skill center. It was launched there, and of course mine is a feedback on perhaps what we can do better at the skill center here at USIU. I'm a student of economics, and there are other skills apart from coding that I think we immediately need. For example, as we transit to the job market, the skills of advanced Excel, skills such as data, SPSS, these are skills that the employer needs immediately. And perhaps I think one conversation that we are having with my Dean of Students and Dennis, who is the man at the ground there at the University of Nairobi, is to find how we can also include these skills. Perhaps look for another partner and just see how students can also adopt these skills. And perhaps another question that I would love to ask is how the implementation question, how are we planning to reach students? Because that center is there and perhaps other students might not know that the center is there. How are we planning to reach them so that they can also take advantage of the center? Thank you.
Professor Amos will answer that question, but probably can take another. You had a question? Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Samuel Jenga. I'm a student here and doing APT. And before I came for my degree here, thank you, Ken. I see you. I was a teacher there. So before I came to take my degree, I had gone through these programs. I did Andera and Facebook together. And before then, I did Microverse. Microverse is based in the US. And one thing, we get the ground skills, like coding skill, and you get very good in that. But when you come to job market, the first requirement is have a bachelor's degree. So I suffered that. And I don't know how the stakeholders, after you give us these skills, how are you planning to integrate that? I know not everyone will be privileged to be able to enroll to an undergraduate degree, because it also has a very big part to play to help you in IT. I don't know how much we can, because we are thrilled, we are pushed to do Python, we are all that, but sometimes we lack to know the why we are building there. So that's my question, especially when you are building these programs.
So we'll take one last question, and then we'll allow the visitors.
Thank you, John. I'm Nicholas Moura from Riera University. Starting with Hillary, I think what gave you an edge must have been that profile added because of the certificate. And it's really wonderful for young people to understand that though this learning on digital spaces, especially these on-demand courses, it may take time, it require a lot of sacrifices. They really need to take advantage of that. And these opportunities are so many. And unfortunately, we were just discussing with the guys from JE, and the biggest challenge is that out of maybe 170 students who are given a scholarship, maybe 20 to 50 finish. So perhaps a challenge also now to all of us, could the challenge be the time involved? What could we do also to ensure that the entry rates and the graduation rates are almost at par, or maybe at a certain percentage? The other question, maybe to Professor Amai and the co-founder of Immobilis, I didn't get the name, is Ken? Okay. Where is the meeting point between digital technology and all these technologies and the challenges facing the common mwananchi, for instance? Whereas there is, for instance, issues of food shortage in certain parts of Kenya, you'll find there is a lot of food going to waste in certain parts of the same country. This is a challenge, I think, across Africa. So, so maybe how are we, of course, these are challenges for the youth to see these opportunities and use these technologies to try to resolve this. But where is the meeting point between what I would call now the digital, of course, what is now the technology of today, the digital technologies, and the traditional way of doing things? Where is the meeting point? Where is the merging point? Thank you.
Right, so we'll start with the response.
Just a very quick response, I think, to the last two speakers and what you've raised. So in my view, technology is one of the most incredibly important tools that we have to solve problems. It's the foundation. Digital learning and education is important for all students, but we cannot stop there, because the purpose of a university is to teach you to think critically, to bring in multiple disciplines, whether it's psychology, sociology, history, economics, right? Because that's the knowledge base, right? And that's so important, to be able to think, to be able to solve problems, and to be able to create new technologies. So the merging of a university with this project is critically important. But I would argue that you are as effective as you are because you know how to communicate, you've got the motivation, you've been mentored. This is a part of a university education. So I would ask all of you involved in this important project to say, what else do we need? It's simply not just the coding. It's the critical thinking, it's the writing, it's the communication, it's the interdisciplinary approach to solving problems. So that's why we have universities. We probably do need to do better in digital literacy, but we've just established new courses for everyone. But we cannot stand alone. Neither of us will survive and solve the problems we need to unless we're even integrated more. So thank you to you two for raising that critically important question. Thank you.
Brilliant. Prof. Amos? Yeah, thank you very much for the question that's regarding preparatory skills. What else, what needs to be done? And I just want to say that as a university, for the last 5 years, we've already been doing that. Those of you who are our students, faculty, will attest that Fridays, Saturdays, we usually have classes that expose people to problem solving, thinking through a theory of change and how things can change. And in addition to that, we do have data analysis, data analytics course that's really offered on SPSS, the different softwares that you've mentioned. And now what we want to do is to simply scale up whatever we have been doing with this lab. So please feel free to reach out. Yogo must be around. He's the man in charge he's the statistician in charge of that project. Feel free to reach out. He should be able to expose you to that. And then also, in the complete cycle, we've now introduced monitoring and evaluation from the digital perspective in 3 levels. Right from the basics, you can simply come in and simply learn, what does it mean? What do I need to do? You can do an intermediate, and now we've also introduced an advanced part of it. Kindly reach out. We'll be able to provide more information with regard to some of these programs. It's an exciting time, John.
Thank you for that feedback. Any burning question before we move to closing remarks? What? Okay.
Okay. Good morning. Morning. My name is Festus Kirwa. I'm from the University of Nairobi. First of all, I want to say thank you to JA. Last year, when I had finished my 3rd year course for economics, I had a whole period holiday. So I came to, somebody told me, can you go to 3rd floor, to 2nd floor? There's an office called a skill center. The first person I met was Deno. And so I asked Deno, what are you doing here? He told me we have several skills that are being offered. So then my interest was in computing and coding. And Dennis told me, now you have a platform to build on that. And I started there from, I think, from March. I think I'll be finishing around this coming March. And I'm grateful for JA. Also, my comment is this. As technology advances, there's a concept that has been told of demystifying the universities. Let me tell it to all the lecturers who are here. We have a new boy in town called ChatGPT. And let me tell you guys, that thing does wonders. And let me tell you, it was developed by just a young person. And to the young generation, think of a problem or look for a problem, look for the solution, and probably monetize that solution. Because it's not only about coding for employment, it's about coding for deployment. Deploying yourself, putting yourself within the society and giving a solution. Thank you.
Thank you. I really admire University of Nairobi students. They always insist on the. Is it the or the? The. Probably should start now that, yeah, we should start the USIU. So I want to give you back 30 minutes of your day. So I'll invite the panelists to give closing remarks. And as well, once you're done here, you can have time for further conversations. So probably, Ken, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Now that you've taken the genie out of the bottle with ChatGPT, someone was commenting the other day about is it going to mean that software developers lose their jobs because there's this powerful AI system? What does it mean? Panicking and lecturers, and is there a better way of teaching? And someone jokingly said, so long as it can't make mutura, I'm quite comfortable that we're okay. So I think my closing remark would be I think tied to what the good professor from Riera asked about maybe, and also what the VC asked, what more can be done to make it a more effective ecosystem? What could be the gaps? And I think for me it's three things. It's hackathons, so to the point of how can problems from other disciplines and global challenges be brought in, where then students get to practice both their coding skills, but also get to showcase and potentially with the idea of prize money that they can take the idea further, right? Because there's those who will take the pathway of employment, there's those who will take the pathway of innovation and startups. The second thing is mentorship, which JA does a fantastic job at. But I think having industry sort of get more involved for the students who come and who then will benefit from this lab. And then thirdly is just job linkages. We're involved as Immobilis in something called the Industry Digital Talent Program. It's a collective of Safaricom and banks and all these different potential employers who are saying there's a dire and acute shortage of tech talent. So the initiative was meant to be take an innovative approach to how can 1,000 young people who are university graduates who have at least the basic skills then be taken through internship, master classes, hackathons, all sorts of different things. And I know a few universities I think are involved. I don't know if USIU is involved, but that would be then the third suggestion is universities plugging into industry through those sort of job linkage platforms. Thanks.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, for me, as a student, I'm still a student in this context. For me, what I like everyone to take home is that for those of you who are good in chemistry, there were physical change and chemical change. So our brain every day goes through a chemical change. That is, it's irreversible. What you learn is irreversible. And every skill affects how you view the world. Everything you learn in a day affects your character, how you view. So take this home and spread the gospel that for every course you take, for every training you take, it has even if it is not immediate, it will, at the long run, it will have some impact to your life, the quality of your life and everything. So for me, I'm a living testimony of this, and I wish to hear very many stories after me.
Thank you, Hillary. You know, when I first saw you, I thought you were dressed up for the event. I didn't know you had a big job. So thank you. Congratulations, congratulations.
Congratulations indeed, you make us proud. I think for me, two key messages. The first one is we can create solution to our own problems. So let's use the facilities, the ICT that we have to find homegrown solution. I hope, Henry, that as you look at the issues around agriculture, you can throw the problem to the center, and I believe they'll be able to find a solution for you. The second one is partnerships. As I was interacting with everybody, I think everybody is doing something within IT. How can we leverage on that partnership to be able to have greater impact? We have the opportunity. Let's work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrina.
I'll answer a question that I was asked about how do we teach this IT. I'll give two examples. In 2021, we did incubate. We have a innovation incubation center. We did incubate a student. She was graduating with IR, international relations, but she was doing a project in creating a diplomatic magazine, e-magazine, for all the foreign missions in Kenya. And we were able to host her and guide her and mentor her to go through the process of even looking for funders to help her establish the magazine. And therefore, even if you are in IR or you are in psychology, so long as you have the desire, because for us who do ICT 4D, we know IT as a form of intermediation. It's supposed to take you to the next level. You're doing your agriculture, how do you move it to the next level? You're doing your teaching, how do you move it to the next level? And this is where IT comes in. So last week we had a meeting with this student who is doing tourism management. And he is trying to come up with a system which will allow him to be able, because he's not a young man, he's a man who has been in the industry for years, who has come back, as Jenga has come back to university to get the skills. How does he now move whatever theoretical aspect he's learning in class to the industry through IT? And he is working on a broader project that involves use of ICT in tourism management. And therefore, as we work among the university and the stakeholders, and I'm happy that you mentioned about hackathon, we invite you to be one of our judges in our hackathon, which will be held in 17th and 18th of March this year. We shall have USIU annual hackathon in March. So we will get in touch with you and we see how we can involve you, and also with the bank also. So we see that if we trust the system, the students who are in most private universities like USIU, I don't know about the University of Nairobi, where they have a chance of doing electives. For example, you could be doing IR, or you could be doing IBA. And then you come to the computing department, and you are allowed to take upper level electives. And you can do social media for business, IST 3005 as a course. And this will give you a chance to see, how do I use the social media in my IR? How do I use my social media in my tourism? As you do your psychology, how do I use IT in this? And therefore, there are chances of how do we teach all these, allowing the student to cross over to different departments, different schools, and engage in learning in other departments. And that would be very important, so that we take IT at every level. We know we teach it at the basic level. And as you have rightly said, it's not all about coding. It's how do we use Facebook to market my hotel? How do I use social media for my diplomatic communication? We know how the former president of the US used social media for his gain for a long time. So how do we bring all these things? Because IT is part of our life. Because as I mentioned earlier, I went to a village, they don't have food, but they have Wi-Fi. And therefore, that's where we are. We have technology everywhere, and therefore it's how do we use it to ensure, as Professor has mentioned, the food that is being wasted on the other side can reach the other side. And therefore, we can use this IT to bring us together on a table so that we can all have bread on our table. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. I think what is coming out evidently is the power of synergy. I'm amazed that it was mentioned we still need universities for critical thinking. We can't wish that away. We'll need learners as well. We'll need partners to make some of our dreams see. Is it the day of light or light of day? So pretty excited to be here. Thank you for your sharing. Please, a round of applause to the lady and the gentleman. My challenge, as I had the students from the University of Nairobi speak, and Prof as well. There's a lot of reference to, I met a man at the center. I met a man at the center. Please, universities, let's meet a woman or a lady at the center. Isn't it? And it's true. Let's meet a woman at the center. It's about time. The beauty about J events, we always keep time. So I'll give you 8 minutes to prepare your tummies for the refreshments. We're supposed to break at 11:40, but do not leave. We have something there available for you. I'll hand it back to Prof. But probably before we close, on my end, I'd like to recognize some of my team members who are here. There's Tony there. Tony is our lead. He's Dr. Anthony Luvanda. He's our lead in the ICT. Wesi mrefu, unaweza simama kidogo watu wakuone. Sorry, he's a man as well. My apologies. He's the lead in this program that you are currently running. We also have James there, who's experienced program lead. We have Ramadan Obiero seated there. We have our alumni here. Juliet was also part of the team and a student at the, you see I said the USIU And Dennis as well, who you've met, and I think the rest are out there. So, and our partner, actually. Thank you, Caro, for showing up. There was a shocker somewhere. I think and we have Kenyatta University as well represented here. So I hope that we'll build the synergies and grow impact for a lot more, so that you can hear a lot more stories of young people who come to Nairobi, live next to hotels, and never go back. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, John. And we promised to keep it short and sweet. And it's good that our panelists have also added powerful. So we can conclude that it was short, sweet, and powerful. So we'll now end up with a vote of thanks. And I will invite Professor Michael Kihara, the Associate Dean in the School of Graduate Studies, Research and Extension.
Good morning. Thanks, Prof, for doing that correction. The program says that I'm the dean, and I was really worried. I was worried whether I'll get my office after this occasion. It's a typo. I'm the associate dean. So, asanteni so much for coming. I'm a psychologist, so when John was talking about is IT the panacea for all world solutions, what happens to psychologists? I was like, anyway, that's one of me. And I've had the privilege of attending quite a lot of fora. I worked in Cambridge for 10 years, which is a field that is filled with medical doctors. And they use a lot of medical jargon. Then I come today, you IT guys are not any better. You start by telling us coding without telling us what is coding. And I'm sure for you, maybe coding is the first thing you had, maybe in IST 1010. You should understand maybe there are people who don't know what coding is. But the good news is that, and I liked, Ken, what you said, that, it's even Wamoyo said, it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle. We have telehealth. We are using digitization to reach out mental health. Today we heard from the main guy that Parliament had the first paperless session. So again, we can see how digitization takes place. So I want to give the vote of thanks. I have been seated many times waiting for the vote of thanks, and there's one thing that happens. Sometimes you're waiting to hear your name, and you chilanga, and you wait, and your name doesn't appear, and you feel like, yani, they forgot. Then the MC or the vote of thanks guy comes and says, sorry, I forgot to acknowledge you. Please feel acknowledged. Unaambiwa hapo kando. So, before I start, because I could possibly miss you all, please feel acknowledged. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, we want to thank a lot of people who have made this occasion what it is. Indeed, we are grateful to Mr. Mukhtar Ogle, who is the Executive Secretary in the Office of the President, who came and gave the keynote and also helped open the space downstairs. Really grateful for it. If you have not gone to the space, it's an amazing space. Just how it looks. In psychology, we are told that if you have an enriched environment, it creates greater connections in your brain. It says that if you look at a brain, there is white parts and gray parts. White matter and gray matter. The gray matter is the connections, the synapses. So the more you are in an enriched environment, the more you create synapses and you have more gray matter. I don't know how your brain looks. I would take you to an MRI just to look at your brain. But if your brain is very white, you need to go downstairs and you start creating connections and creating more gray matter in yourself. Want to thank the African Development Bank for the great job that they've done. Please pass our heartfelt joy to the Director General, Madam Nene. And thank you. This name, it's so beautiful. Hendrina Doroba. Thank you to the African Development Bank and also to the partners, the Rockefeller Foundation. I'm sure there's somebody from Rockefeller who has played such a major part in doing this. Another partner was Microsoft. We had somebody called Irene from Microsoft. Thank you for those partners for making this happen. Thank you also to the junior achievers, your executive director, Kenya, John Wali. Makofio. I think you have people who have the think tank, the people who think strategically, then there are the people who finance, but there are the people who action. And I think John and your team, you've done an amazing job. Thank you to you, and another round of applause. Want to thank all the panelists for the good job well done. Ken Mwenda from Immobilis, Asante Sana. Keep Ngetich. Green from Green Kericho to Green Nairobi. Being green, but we believe that it's all good. And we are grateful for the testimony of what such a program can do to a person. We are so privileged and so happy to hear what it has happened to you. Thank you again, Madam Doroba, for good job. Thank you, Professor Omoyo, Chair, SST University, the United States International University. Want to thank also in USIU the VC and also the management board, Professor Ensign, very grateful. When we look at this university hosting this great venture, we want to thank you for being part of it. Also in USIU, we want to thank the School of Graduate Studies, Research and Extension, Professor Amos Njuguna, again my boss, unisaidia hapo mbele mbele. Thank you so much. We want to thank Professor Mulinge, who is in charge of the academic affairs. I had seen him earlier, Professor Mulinge. Okay. USIU again want to thank the Dean, School of Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Joroge. Again, we are housed in your building. Thank you very much. Want to thank the Dean, School of Science, Professor Valerie. She's not in, but you can take our thanks to her for what SST is doing. We want to thank also invited guests. We got to hear that we had members from UON. Karibu sana. Are there others other than the two? The UON. We have members from Riara University. Riara University? Okay. Asante for coming. Kenyatta University? Yes, we have some representative from Kenyatta University. Wapige makofi. All invited guests, students of USIU, we are very grateful. Members of faculty, thank you very much for gracing this event. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have an enjoyous day. Enjoy the refreshments.